It is episode number 47. Sup nam, beautiful friends. And once again, a very happy new year to you all. I hope it started out amazing for you. 2023 is going to be an amazing year, but it's also going to be a year in which we never forget. A year of spirituality, discoveries, innovations, paranormal activity, sky activity, and as we, humanity as a whole, begin to shift slowly and ascend into new levels of consciousness. This can and will be an exciting time for all of us. As long as you avoid mass media, of course, you got to avoid them. Anyway, I predicted more issues with North Korea. Well, Kim Jong-un started off the new year with a bang as he shoots off more missiles on both New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Several, actually. Should we be concerned? Yes, of course we should. And I'll tell you why later in today's show. An alert goes out to dog and animal lovers throughout. Dog and animal lovers, why are the shelters becoming so overwhelmed with hundreds of small animals, mostly dogs here in the United States? I'm sure globally too. But why is that happening? We're going to talk about that today. Not long ago, I warned our construction workers to watch being accident prone. We had that period of accident prone, and now New Year's as a whole is accident prone. So you may have saw that I said that there was something that was going to collapse during construction. I thought more likely a building, but it was actually 3 people were sadly killed in North Carolina after scaffolding collapsed in a construction project. This, along with a terror attack against New Yorkers on New Year's Eve when an alleged Muslim extremist goes postal with a large machete swinging it around on the streets of New York. Should we be worried about other extremists in 2023? Tensions grew between China and United States after a Chinese fighter jet comes close as 20 feet from a U.S. Navy jet. China, of course, blames United States, but China has become very aggressive the whole second half of 2022. But the United States has always been aggressive. So who's to fault? Well, again, China blames United States, but whose fault is it? And are we really heading into World War III? Or are we technically already in it? I'd say we're probably already in it. It's a different kind of war, though. I told you on New Year's Day that 2023 would bring lots of tension and drama with the government, congressional meetings, and so forth. And right here in the United States already, they're arguing over votes for the Speaker of the House. If you remember early last year, probably January predictions, I said Nancy Pelosi would be on her way out by year end, and she is. So what's going to happen next? A lot of drama, I can tell you that much. But a new normal is here, my friends. A new normal and an even newer normal is coming in 2023. Today, I'm going to cover these topics along with the energy report and predictions for January, and some of those that you did not get to hear on my New Year's Day show, if you happen to be there. And so other than that, I welcome you to my channel, back to my channel. If you're new here and you like predictions, prophecy, and truth, you're going to want to be a part of this here tribe. Smash that subscribe. Really, really important. This is episode 47 weeks. Only skipped 1 week because I had the bug. And that was last month. But if you missed my top 10 New Year's Day predictions, which I did on New Year's Eve, make sure you go check them out because there's a lot more detail on them, along with the details of New Year's Day's world predictions, the 16th annual New Year's Day world prediction. So check both those videos out. So I thank all of you for your love and support because I couldn't do what I love to do if it weren't for all of you. So thank you for subscribing, being a part of the tribe. Thank you to my supporters who joined this community and the Awaken Your Spirit community as well. Down below, you'll find the link to a newsletter, and I don't think it's the updated one, but you can still go to that link, open it up, and subscribe so you know what videos you may have missed, what events and classes I have coming up, and a whole lot more. And of course, our monthly energy reports that are always in the newsletter. But of course, I bring them to you here as well. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this January 3rd, 2023. 2023 just sounds odd, right? maybe because it just started. Yogi tea, sweet tangerine, positive energy is what I drink. So it's almost hard to believe that we have already stepped into 2023. While many folks are still stuck back in 2020, if you know what I mean. January is here, and in numerology, this happens to be a 7 vibration. And the month of January happens to be an 8 vibration. 7 year, 8 month. The 7 is the most sacred number to many ancient civilizations. And even within the Holy Bible, the 7 is referred to so many times. This makes the 7 year of 2023 the most powerful year we've had spiritually since 2014, when we were in the last 7 year, and before that it was 2005. A year for humanity to ascend into higher levels of consciousness. The 7 can be an amazing energy, like all numbers, once you learn how to educate yourself in the vibration of those numbers. 2023 7 vibration will bring about amazing experiences, both personally, universally, and with paranormal connections and connections to the spirit realms. And an awesome time for us to open up to our intuition and our psychic abilities, to connect with spirit, ancestors, loved ones, and yes, even ghosts. Woo! But it's a very sensitive year with that 7 vibration. So, but I do warn you that it also is a time like any other time, but a little bit more so, where dark entities like to run rapidly across our planet. So always keep yourself grounded and always energetically surround yourself with a white opaque light and a golden light to keep yourself in a good vibration. 2023 is going to open up new portals within our minds, our bodies, and our spirits, which will bring us another level of clarity. This will allow many more folks to see through the darkness with more clarity than we normally would have. Kind of like the time of 2020, which was new vision, and look at the awakening that happened in 2020. Well, this time, 2023, is a time of self-discovery, major world discoveries, as I spoke about on my New Year's Day world prediction. So again, I can't remind you enough to go back and listen to that. January is an 8 vibrational universal month, which I spoke about also on my New Year's Day show. The 8 vibration is all about money, finances, and world markets as well, and so forth. So although this can have a very negative impact, especially due to the Mercury retrograde on finances and financial markets, I say not to worry, because I actually feel that this first half of 2023 won't be too bad. I think it's just going to more likely float along with a few little ups and downs, and that's across the board, except for China. I do think China's going to have some major problems. But anyway, late spring and summer is a time to really watch the markets even closer. And this is why I'm here every Tuesday, to get more updates and more information. So always make sure to subscribe so that you're here and catch what's going on. I will get more information or details about many predictions as time moves forward. So again, going back, I feel like late spring, summer is a time to really watch the markets closer. And even more so, of course, when we hit the month of October, as I said in my predictions on the 1st. More on that in the future video. I will do a future video, so be sure, again, to smash that subscribe button. But I warn, as a final warning with the area of finances to many of you, I warn many of you to get your finances in order this month, especially because it is the 8th month, because February happens to be a 9 vibration, and that 9 vibration is all about endings and death of cycles, which in turn can also bring large losses to people. So you're going to want to be aware of that. I can move this over. There we go. Move you over. It's not moving. Oh, well, it'll have to stay. So in 2022, did you know just over $2.5 trillion was lost in the cryptocurrency world? And you can't say I didn't warn you. I warned y'all to stay away from those cryptocurrencies last year. And many of you took your advice and sent me letters and thank you and so forth. Folks acquired more than $110 billion in credit card debt in 2022. Do not allow this 8 vibration of January to force you deeper into debt, because it can. The way you affect your finances and all in January is going to reflect on all the months to come. Really, really important, all the way up to October when we're in that 8 vibration again. So allow the 8 vibration of January to actually force you not into deeper debt, but to force you to focus on knowing that you will be taken care of by our divine creator and universe, that all your needs are always met when they need to be. Mind over matter, my friends, and positive thinking, of course, works. We know it does. Positive thinking. May I also remind you that we are still in the direct energy of Mercury retrograde with Pluto and all this planetary stuff that's going on. And the Mercury retrograde will affect communications along with electronics and motorized items. So I tell you to please expect these things to break down. Expect your internet to go down. Expect your cell phone carriers or several cell phone carriers to lose service for up to 2 to 3 days, according to Spirit. Spirit makes me feel that it is very likely another attack on one of our grids will occur this month again, but this time they might be quite successful. I'm not clear quite yet where this might be, but I do feel and was really pulled to the northern parts of the United States and into Canada. So I warn my Canadian friends to be on alert because you are also in the scopes of the target, these trash bags. In just 3 days, on January 6th, we step into the full moon, the first full moon of 2023, and the beginning of the first energy shift, which will be a tsunami wave of energy that washes across the whole entire planet and charges across our planet, literally, during these energy shifts. That tsunami wave of energy will conclude on the 21st of January when we go into the new moon, which is going to be a powerful new moon. I'll talk about that probably next week or the week after. Spirit pulled me very strongly to the weekend of the 21st and 22nd of January. Thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't get clarity. I'm not really clear why. But again, perhaps, one of my predictions from the past will come into fruition on the weekend of the 21st. Or hopefully I'll get more information before we get to the 21st. Chances are something I said will probably happen that weekend. As this tsunami wave of energy approaches this coming Friday, actually, I expect sudden, unexpected, some might be expected, movement in the Earth's plates, which will bring very strong earthquake activity. I touched on weather in my top 10 predictions that I did on New Year's Eve. So go be sure to check that out. And I will be doing a live weather prediction video sometime in the next week. I was thinking this week, but my schedule's really busy. So I'm thinking I'll have more and it'll be better if I do it on Monday. And I will be doing something on Monday. So make sure you're tuned in on Monday. Going back to this and the earth plates and the movement of the earth plates, a big reminder goes out to our friends in California. Because California, I said it a couple weeks ago, but it came up to me today, along with Indonesia, Japan, Alaska, and Peru. Keep in mind that the 2023-7 can literally turn us inside out in a good way that can help you to transform the way you think, the way you do things, and the future really that lies ahead for you. It's really important. So take 2023 as a transformational year that will, I'm mind over matter, that will, without a doubt, turn your world upside down, but we want you to be right side up at the end of it all, right? But if you go into this with negative thinking, what's going to happen is you're not going to reach those new levels of abundance, joy, and happiness that are opening up for you in 2023, for all of us in 2023. Look at this as a bad thing or start off the new year with negative thinking. And not only are you going to be personally turned upside down and shaken, but you're going to resemble the Hanged Man tarot card. And you'll really be hanging till the end of the year. So make the best that you can out of this year. Another good note about 2023 is more people will begin to open up their heart centers, which is really important for all of us, which will also actually help people to realize that they need a plan and that they should be prepared. Prepared for what? Who knows? But they need to be prepared. So therefore, we're going to see in 2023 that it's going to bring about, several buying frenzies, which we saw happen once last year in China. They had a huge buying frenzy. I don't know what's going on there with that now. I know the bug's knocking them down pretty hard. But in 2023, Spirit showed me several buying frenzies all throughout the globe, along with more teams of course, trash bags that are going to be out there looting and harming hardworking business owners, which is really sad. Try to beat the buying frenzies, just because it might be your area, it might not be your area, but try to beat these frenzies and get what you think you'll need as soon as you're able to do so. Because I know not everybody can just go and stock up. Not all of us have that blessing or miracle. I stock up on a little bit when I can. A little bit each time I go to the store, I grab something extra. Even if it's just a can or two of vegetables or something just to have in stock. It's so much better to be safe than it is, of course, to be sorry. And it's better to be prepared than it is to be scared. So in the realm of tarot cards, if you remember, I revealed 3 of them on New Year's Day, which happened to be the Tower, the Justice card, and the Devil card. But I never thought about it until I looked into it deeper, that the cards that represent a 7 vibration that go along with the 7 year that we're in vibrational wise. And it just so happens that actually the Tower is number 7 card. And so is the Chariot. Chariot is another one. That's the 16th card of the tarot deck, which breaks down to a 7. So this is something I didn't touch base on because of the Chariot, because I didn't mention the Chariot card. So think of it as your chariot has just arrived. Think of it that way. Your chariot has just arrived, and it's time for you to go places in life. But if you fail to jump onto this chariot, if you fail to ride that chariot in 2023, you're going to have your tower collapse. Remember the Tower card that I brought up. So the chariot is here. It's time for us to get on that chariot and go many places and do many things in 2023. And if we don't get on that chariot and we sit back like a frog on a lily pad, just waiting for something to come and whatever, your tower is going to collapse because of the Tower card that I picked. Once again, if you're new and you just tuned in live, somebody put chat cash through and I didn't see who that was. Ian, thank you so much for that. I think that was the only person. Welcome to my channel and back to my channel. We are at episode number 47 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update. I'm going to go over with you the predictions that I didn't get to on New Year's Day. Remember, I have two prediction videos already. The top 10 from New Year's Eve and then my annual New Year's Day predictions. Some people got to hear them on the Zoom extended version. I'm going to touch base on many of them, not all of them, because this is really important. And you'll watch in the comments that people don't listen. They'll be like, what about this country? Or what about that country? As I said before, on New Year's Day, I have many countries listed with predictions, but I'm not done tuning in to all that. So I will do sometime next week a video on country to country predictions. And please don't comment below, do my country, do my country. I can only do what Spirit tells me. I can't just necessarily tap in. And if I were to do every country, I'd be here for a week. It'd be a week worth of videos. But just to let you know, that's one of the things that's on the list to be worked on. So, and if you're new here again, every Tuesday I'm here. We talk about any top news stories, predictions revolved around that, or news stories that align with past predictions or prophecy coming true. We go through the news stories, which I'm going to do a few of today, predictions that I didn't get to on New Year's Day. So let us begin with some news stories and how they may or may not be aligned to prophecy or predictions. So I thought this one was really kind of an interesting story. Just to bring up and mention, it's a sad story about the Buffalo Bills NFL player, Damar Hamlin. This is a very sad story, and the hit that this guy took and the heart attack that actually stopped his life for a short period of time on those fields. Here's two interesting things of this story that I can talk about here today. what my spirit guides say, and what about what Damar Hamlin's alleged doctor said. And this is the interesting part. I don't know if you heard this, but allegedly on Twitter, somebody claiming to be his doctor, Dr. Benjamin Edelman, Eidelman, made a claim on Twitter. What's interesting even more about this is that since then, this claim has been deleted from his Twitter. People got screenshots of it. That's what's interesting. So I haven't been able to confirm whether this is his doctor yet. So this is just an alleged tweet that I'm telling you. So don't jump to conclusions unless you have proof or something with links that this is his doctor. Regardless of whether it is or not, I just want to tell you what he tweeted. He said that I gave Damar his number 3 boost, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, that's what he says anyway, on December 26th. So I gave him that on December 26th. And I can assure the public that he has passed all screenings with flying colors. So interesting. And I don't know, again, it could be a lie. Maybe he never got it. I don't know what the rules are in football with that whole mandate, or if there is a mandate or not. I thought that was interesting. But there's more, because Spirit gave me predictions to go along with it. So again, if you're new here, when I talk about certain news stories, I often get information and future predictions revolved around it. So it's interesting, right? So you can take what you want from that story. But like I said, Spirit says to me today that this is going to become oddly common. And that was Spirit's words, oddly common. We will see several athletes critically injured in 2023. Remember, I told you, accident-prone year. In the United States, but also in European football or soccer, depending on how you look at it. But in Europe, they call it football because it's kind of real football before football came to the United States. We will see at least 2 heart attacks on the field or shortly after stepping off the field. This will not just hit pro athletes, but Spirit says expect this at high schools and college sports fields as well. Also, I see at least one up-and-coming Olympian experiencing issues that actually try to force them completely out of the Olympics going forward. And it seems I got from this, the person seems kind of like adamant, like I'm going to the Olympics. I made it this far, which I totally get that. But the other part of me is if they go all the way and don't shut down when they're told by the doctors or whatever, then it could end up being very deadly for them. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Olympic arena. I just want to mention the first gathering of folks that happened today at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. They finally have begun to pay respects to the former Pope Benedict. Again, if you missed my top 10 2023 predictions, I talked a lot about that. And my New Year's Day annual predictions as well. So go back and make sure you give them a listen. But I remind you that 2023 is a 7-year, and that's going to have a huge effect on religions, on belief systems, spirituality. Spirit was showing me chaos of sorts behind the Vatican walls. I felt like chaos, like all over the place, scattering. I felt like there was a lot of scattering and being all over the place. I got that today, actually. And as I said in my New Year's predictions, I see more than likely we're going to see more than one large gathering at the Vatican this year. Another funeral, followed by watchers awaiting to see the chimney smoke change colors. That's what Spirit said today. Again, another funeral followed by watchers waiting for the chimney smoke to change colors. That's going for a new pope. So they're scattering behind those doors right now. Kind of interesting. Pope Benedict's passing is helping them keep everything else on the down low. This brings me to another story and more on what I said on New Year's about hatred towards other people's belief systems, religion, and spirituality. Remember, that was all part of that prediction on New Year's or on New Year's Eve, one of them. So I didn't finish writing that. Or was there more to write to that? Don't you hate when that happens? ADHD, you start one thing and then you get more information, you go down and put it in, and then you forget to go back to where you were before. That happens to me from time to time. It's not that, it's just I get this flow of information that comes through like freaking crazy. And then sometimes I'm writing something, something else comes to me, and I go down to start writing about something else, and then I forget to go back. But I think that ends it. This brings another story and more on what I said about, oh, wait, I didn't put the story in there. Oh, that's why. Well, let me go back to my notes. I have it here somewhere. There was a story in the New York Times, I think it was, about anti-Semitism, and anti-Semitic assaults in New York City committed by, apparently, they say, minorities. So I couldn't find the article. I meant to find the article. I saw it somewhere. Maybe I don't know where. It probably was on the news. Sometimes I'll put on the news just to see what's going on in the world once a week, just on Tuesday mornings. I don't like watching that crap, but sometimes I need to know what's happening in the world when I do this. So this goes back to what I said about 2023 being a year it's going to affect our belief systems, religion, the way we look at things, spirituality, and all of the above. So it would make sense that a story like this comes out at the beginning of this year about assault on these people. Any assault on anybody is not right. No. And I'm sure it's true, but it might not be true because remember, we also know that they want nothing more than to divide us. What a better way to divide us than to use race and religion and all other kinds of means to divide us. Politics, they do all kinds of things to divide us. Even sports, you got the Eagles and you have Dallas, so it's kind of crazy. But again, it's not right either. So this is why I bring it up today, is because we're going to see more and more stories throughout this year that are based around religious rights and practices and hatred towards those particular things. And again, I went into more detail about fires and church fires and all in my New Year's Day predictions. So that's what I forgot. I just forgot to put that story in there. Weather. I'm just going to touch base briefly on weather because, as I told you before, I'm preparing a 2023 weather prediction video, and I got a lot more information about weather than I was expecting, and I haven't even really totally sat down to focus on it. But stuff comes to me. So that's going to be interesting. I'm planning on doing that on Monday, but you never know. I could do it this week. I don't know when I'd find time, but definitely by Monday. So I feel this urgency to warn folks all along the west coast of the United States, all the way up, starting from the edge of LA, all the way up and even into Alaska, because I had this feeling of great movement of the Earth's plate along that area. Now, I don't know what the plates look like. I should have tried to look that up, actually. And I don't know if there's just one plate up there. I would assume there's probably several. But I felt this movement happening up there. And I said this before, if you remember, on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, they had that earthquake in California. Actually, I think it was only not many hours after Tuesday's show ended. Well, I feel like, again, that there's this plate along that area and that this could lead to the past prediction I made, if you remember, of plates snapping together. Do you remember that? I mean, I don't remember detail. I just have deja vu memory of it. Because snapping, think about like if you snap a bone into place. Oh, right. So that's the same with the plates. So maybe that's a line to that, perhaps. It's just something that popped in my mind. But in turn, that plate snapping together would bring about one of the biggest earthquakes, if not the biggest. So be careful, all you folks up on that west coast, all the way up to Alaska. Spirit showed me a vision of the entire ring of fire, ring of fire, and I saw it sparking brighter in my vision. So I just saw a little ring of fire, and then I just saw it like somebody like added gasoline to it, right? And it got brighter, which can only indicate one thing: that the entire ring of fire is beginning to flare up, and all that hot magma below has to go somewhere, right? Whether it be deeper into the Earth's cracks, or whether it's rising up and shooting out of volcanoes. But I did some volcano predictions in the last Tuesday show, I think, before the end of the year. Some of this flaring up around the ring of fire is beginning now, is what Spirit showed me. But I do feel oddly in my mind that the activity will come even stronger when we exit the energy shift. So usually a lot of this activity happens when we're in these energy shifts. Again, if you've been following me long enough, you know that that's a trigger time. It's like a trigger. The energy shift is a trigger. You can see my light behind me. Triggered. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought. We'll go back to this, and my train of thought will come back in a minute. Where? So yeah. Oh, the energy shift. I've been working on this all day. My brain is fried from predictions, my friends. Like fried. A week worth of doing this work is just fried my brains. And I still got more to do. That's okay. You're all worth it. Love you lots. So yeah, usually the activity happens during the energy shift or right before and into it. But Spirit oddly showed me and made me feel today that it's coming after the energy shift, which is really interesting. Not that there's not going to be activity during that time of January 6th to the 21st. Guaranteed there will be. But I was feeling like after we exit the 21st and move into February, that whole period will be very active. I would expect, according to Spirit and my feelings today, that we can expect some of the greatest activity, volcanic, all of it, weather in 2023. I mean, I said that I'm sure in my top 10, it's going to be record-breaking year. So, I think all in all, 2023 can be a really great year for all of us, especially if we look at that focus and keep that focus in our mind, except when it comes to weather. When it comes to weather, that's out of our control, right? But that's why you have to be prepared, be safe, and have a plan. That's why I stress this, because not just because food shortages or, war or whatever else craziness breaks out on the planet, but you need to be prepared for anything, a flood, whatever could come our way. Really important. I want you to be safe. So back to California, but also Texas and the United Kingdom and several other places too, that I must also warn of big incoming floods. Not all in January, of course, but actually more so as spring weather breaks through. I see several air rescues in my visions today, air rescues due to floods. So it was floods in my vision. I saw like air rescue floods. It reminded me of Katrina. Remember them? Yeah, it totally reminded me of Katrina now. Total just came to me actually. So I'm thinking, I don't know if it's hurricane related. Maybe I'll get more information when I do my weather predictions and as this approaches. But I feel like, again, there's some flooding coming soon this month, but more so at the end of February into March. I also had in my visions, besides seeing helicopter rescues and rescues of people due to floods, I saw a vision, which disturbed me even more, of farm animals all gathered on a small piece of land surrounded by waters. So many parts of the upper United States and Canada need to be warned and prepared, as I also had visions of great mudslides from the waters, of course, and even saw a bridge just totally being washed away. So I don't know if that's partly due to a mudslide, because it was a river, but it was a big bridge. It wasn't no little bridge. It was like a big bridge, like a really big bridge. And I could go on and on and on about weather, but I want you to be in this tribe. Smash that subscribe and catch my weather prediction video next week. Also, don't forget to click that like button, because I love you and I'm here out of complete love. So click that like button. It actually helps you to show algorithms that you want this showing up on your thing. So did you oh, and then also Yellowstone National Park just popped in my brain. See, this is why it's good to tune in live. Channel opens up and information just comes through. What about Yellowstone? Severe floods. Not just Yellowstone, Yosemite, but Yellowstone came out of my mouth. So Yellowstone, but also Yosemite. But we'll stick with Yellowstone first, because that came to my mind. So that could be where some of the stuff is that I just said, with the great mudslides and waters and bridge being washed away. That could have to do with that area, Yellowstone. Yeah. So this makes me look forward to tapping in deeper to the weather predictions to see what else information I get. Excuse me. Did you know, speaking of parks and recreations and all that and such, did you know in Florida, one of the national parks was forced to close due to overwhelming number of migrants? Interesting, right? I couldn't figure out, I forget what the name of the park was. But or is it really true though? Or is it really just to keep Americans out of the parks and stuck close to home? Remember what I said about the cities that they want to build, and they want to make sure that you don't go nowhere more than 15 minutes from your house. Remember, electric cars are to prevent you from going far. You can't drive across country in an electric car. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you can. It's just going to take you 10 times longer, actually. Save your comments for later. People who are all pushing these electric cars because it's bad. Did you see all those slaves in that hole that Joe Rogan showed? There had to be thousands of them inside, with people inside this hole digging up the cobalt for the batteries. Sad, so sad. And that's what's in your phone and everything else, slave labor. Just be aware. But anyway, going back to these parks closing, saying that it's because of migrants. I think they're just trying to probably hide something more than that. But no matter what the case is, there is this underground evil group, according to Spirit, of Iranians. That's what Spirit said today. An evil group of Iranians who have already crossed the border into the United States. Spirit shows me that they plan to head to New York. I don't know where in New York. I thought city, but I'm really not sure. If both manage to cross the lines, so there's another group again, because Spirit said if they both manage to cross the lines, one's going to head, the other group's going to head to LA. So again, hopefully in the future, Spirit will give me a lot more information about this. But not only does this go for United States having issues with evil groups crossing into their country, our country, it also has already occurred in France, according to Spirit, and the UK both, and other parts of Europe. So they're crossing your borders too, my friends. I don't know who there are, they, other than Iranian terrorist groups or whatever I just told you a minute ago. That's all I have. From a past prophecy, if you remember a past prophecy I talked about before, that states that the fallen angels who fell along the Euphrates, well, Spirit showed me today that now they're spreading out. So I heard the whole thing. The fallen angels who fell along the Euphrates are now beginning to spread out. That's exactly what I heard from Spirit today. Kind of interesting. So I know I'll get more information on that in the future. Oh my Lord, I'm out of tea. That's a tragedy. Spirit, wait, my thing was moving and I missed it. Yes, spread out. Spirit also shows me more people fleeing an area, and I believe there would only be two different causes for people fleeing an area as migrants, is what I meant. One would either be because there was an attack near a city that causes people to flee. The other one appeared to me that it would actually be due to some type of a major weather event, such as a major earthquake or tsunami that forces people to relocate. I would say more likely an earthquake. I mean, if it was a tsunami, there wouldn't be nobody to relocate because they all would have washed away in the ocean. I'm going to say probably a quake. We'll have to see. Hopefully it don't come true. I'd rather these things don't come true. Most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. The 2020 bug, speaking of things coming true, and clarity in China. Did you hear about China? China is currently running out of caskets. That's right. China is running out of caskets, according to reports. Lots of reports, actually, and I looked into that deeply. Normally, funeral home directors who order normally between 100 and 200 caskets every time they order are now putting in orders for 20,000 caskets, to the point that now they're having shortages, not just on caskets, but on body bags. So they're going to be lighting those kilns up soon. If you remember going back to that time period, 2020, on a map, someone discovered all the hot spots in China, which they concluded, again, allegedly concluded, that they added in all these, things to burn. What do you call them? Kilns or whatever. Kind of interesting. So it's something to watch out for. Anybody that looks at stuff and knows how to look at the heat, coming up. I forget who it was. It was 2020. It was a couple of years ago, almost 3 years ago now. Wow, can you believe that? It feels like it was almost yesterday. So anyway, normally funeral directors order 100, 200, and they're ordering 20,000. This can really technically not be good for other countries either, especially India. India, I got a lot of worry and concern from, not just today when I was doing this, but also when I was preparing my New Year's Day predictions. And I do have more on India in my country to country predictions. But India will eventually end up closing its doors and its borders, mainly to keep out infected Chinese people. That's what Spirit said. I would not give this too much attention, though, unless you are somebody that lives in China or India. Because Spirit says that there will be far worse to worry about in the future than to worry about that. So Spirit also said what we should worry about is getting ourselves healthy and in shape on a personal, energetic, and emotional level. And the energetic emotion, that has to do with that whole 7 vibration we're in this year. That's what Spirit said to tell you to focus on, tell all of us to focus on. Forget about the bugs. Don't worry about all that. Just be aware of it. It's okay to talk about it, be aware of it, but don't do it out of fear. Instead, just take care of yourself, be healthy and joyful yourself. And remember, stress is the biggest killer. When you're stressed out about stuff, that breaks down your immune system hard, big time. And emotions, the 2 biggest things for your health and your well-being. So something to think about. So I did talk about new outbreaks on New Year's, because Spirit said there will be new outbreaks and variants. I talked a little bit on New Year's Day, but the only part I added in here was folks in Africa must be safe and cautious for themselves as far as outbreaks of Ebola or something new or evolved version of Ebola. I don't even know if that's possible, but that's the feelings I got today. Something like Ebola, or maybe both Ebola and then something that becomes something else. That seemed to be really focused on Africa, and I'm pretty sure it was West Africa. On the subject of bugs, and not the ones that fly around. See all those orbs? This is my temple space, actually. My big altar is right over here on this side, where I do all my prayers and ceremonies. So yes, there's lots of energy floating around in here. On the subject of bugs, did you know a big bug, a big cockroach, finally, after 54 years, has been pushed out of the House of Congress or whatever the hell he was, Fauci. Mr. Fauci. Spirit told me that his replacement will actually be worse. I don't know who his replacement was. I meant to look it up. I don't even know if they have one yet, but said that he would be worse or she would be worse. I think it's going to be a she, but I'm not sure. 54 years is way too long, and I think we can all agree on that one, for somebody to hold any kind of government political type of position. Like, what was he doing to get that position? I don't even want to know. Probably hailing Satan. But that needs to change. That is too long for anybody to hold any position that has anything to do with government, politics, or anything. But soon, Spirit told me this is going to change. And there's going to be new legislature that is passed in the next few years that limit their time in that position, that particular position, probably others too. So, but Spirit did say in a few years. So I'm thinking it's whatever president comes in next is going to be the one that changes the legislature. Animals, our little dear pets and animals. I love me animals. I love me animals more than I love people. That's for sure. Especially my precious Mary Jean, my little angel, who's turning 16 this week. My little baby. She still plays with her toys and runs up the steps. I'm like, I can't believe at 16 you do that well. She's an angel. But animals, mostly dogs, are currently in grave danger here in the United States. And I bet you're probably over there in UK are and all too, I bet. And I'll tell you why. But this is happening especially here in the United States, down in Texas and the Arizona borders. Because what's happening is these trash bags coming across the border with their dogs and leaving their dogs behind. That's a trash bag to me. I'm not saying that everybody coming across a line is trash bags, so don't misinterpret my speech, but those who leave pets behind or kids behind are trash bags. Period. Especially your dog. You brought that animal with you. You do everything with that animal. I don't care if you have to get on a bus or a plane or something and you don't want to, no. Then go back to where you came from with your dog. It really bothered me when I saw this story that they're leaving these dogs behind. And I don't care what their excuse is, because, like I said, only a total trash bag would do that to their pet. Too bad the pet did not leave them behind instead, right? That's what the pet should have done. Came here and left them behind. But Big Dog Ranch Rescue, if you have heard of it, Big Dog Ranch Rescue is currently taking care of more than 900 animals, mostly dogs, due to people leaving them behind at the borders. But also some trash bag Americans as well, who abandon their pets in the middle of nowhere. That's a common thing. They're finding them too mixed in. Finding a lot of abandoned pets on land. So this isn't just, this particular facility dealing with this. It's also shelters everywhere. Our animals plus dogs between two facilities. They have two facilities, but that's still, think about that. That's 450 per. That's a lot. That's a really lot. They raised just over $600,000 for the Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Forgot the name of it, which is great. But I bring this up today, not saying that you need to support them necessarily, but please, friends, please take time to, if you can support them, great. But even better yet, support your own local animal shelters and adopt a pet instead of going through breeders. And definitely don't buy your pet in a pet store. Be sure to have your pets spaded and neutered and spayed. Who used to do that all the time? Bob Barker. The Price is Right. Every show, you remember that? He would always say, please have your pets spayed and neutered. It's kind of funny. All the time. He was a big advocate for animals. Really important. I thought this was a really extremely important message to put out today to y'all. Out of everything, I feel like that's the most important, the animals. Moving on to something less important, China. China and the United States. Two jets came within 20 feet of each other. China blames the United States, but Spirit says China is an aggressor in this particular situation. And Spirit said China will continue to edge on other military craft and warships. So they're aggressors. Not just for this, but that's what Spirit. I tuned in and Spirit said that China was the aggressor because China was PO'd that they were flying over the China Sea, trying to send a message. But again, Spirit said that they're going to do a lot of this to other militaries, crafts, and warships throughout 2023. China's also going to heighten their activities around Taiwan soon. I don't know how soon, but Spirit said soon. Soon to Spirit could be a year and a half compared to soon to us, right? Just putting that out there. That's the hardest thing about predictions, is doing a timeline. Not that I haven't brought up timelines and such, but it's the hardest thing to do. So Spirit said, going back to heightened activity around Taiwan, this will be a bad sign when this begins to escalate. So I'm guessing that they're probably already around Taiwan. But Spirit said there's a point where it's going to escalate, and that's going to be a really bad sign for people in Taiwan. Especially, I just heard, when the protests erupt between China and Hong Kong. Speaking of crazies, let's talk about North Korea for a minute. I talked about them a lot in the past couple months. North Korea shot off another ballistic missile, and Kim Jong-un made sure that his New Year's started off with a bang. They have launched an unprecedented amount of missiles in 2022. Now, this is the creepy part. South Korea and the United States are discussing conducting new military exercises that are involving nuclear weapons. That's right. And of course, South Korea has asked the United States to use our nuclear weapons, not theirs, but ours. Why would you use a nuclear weapon in a simulation exercise? I think they're just trying to get the United States to give them nuclear weapons. Because I guarantee North Korea has one already. I'll put money on it. So does Iran. They both do. Remember, Spirit just said that recently. I think it was Iran has a mini nuke, some kind of mini nuke. Like, I don't know what a mini nuke is, but any nuke is bad. And North Korea is just going to continue. I said in the last Tuesday show at the end of December that he was going to do it again, and he did a week later. Twice, 3 missiles on New Year's Eve. And I think it was 2 on New Year's Day. Don't quote me on that second one, but I know it was at least 1 on New Year's Day. I thought it was a couple. Definitely 3 on New Year's Eve. Kind of interesting. So here's some 2023 leftover predictions. As I put in my notes, leftover predictions. We're having leftovers tonight, kids. And this is actually, I ended off with number 41 on my list, and now it's number 42. I only have a couple numbered because these are all still some of my rough notes, actually. Problems for airlines, but not just financially, but due to angry customers. And one airport being a huge target for war or warfare. I don't know which one, but I see several threats to airline workers, including an evacuation due to a bomb threat. And I only got that it was a threat. I didn't get anything more than that. Although I did see an explosion at an airport, and it appeared to me to be something going through. It was inside, like going through security or going through, the scans. I'm just assuming that I didn't clearly get that. I just, where I saw it and the way it happened, it just felt like that to me. Some things I see and a lot of things I just feel. But I get a combination of all the senses intuitively. Sometimes I smell and taste. That's an odd one. That's usually with clients. When I'm channeling somebody from the other side that, really likes something, then they'll give me that smell or taste. It's kind of weird. So with this particular one, I saw that was just my feeling by the explosion that I saw. I'm kind of believing that this is going to be probably in Russia, while in the United States, a crazy angry passengers and the airlines are going to threaten people when he comes back with a gun. Luckily, I believe that no, he'll be apprehended before anything happens with that. Let's just put that out to the universe together. But this crazy person coming back with the gun is going to be apprehended before he gets far. Before he can do anything, actually. Going back to airlines, number 43 on my list. Airlines will also deal with many mechanical issues, even more so small planes, more of the smaller planes. I had a vision of the way JFK Jr. allegedly died in the plane, and the pop star Aaliyah, pretty girl. Both of their planes went down along the coast, well, allegedly. This makes me feel that there's going to be 2 small jet crashes along the coast, and there'll be famous people, obviously, on these. Perhaps one being maybe a politician and the other one being a musician or a group of musicians. But there will be a flashback too in 2023 of Malaysia Airlines, the missing plane. If you remember all that, how could you forget? I believe this is going to come up several times in 2023, along with revealing some new information about the missing flight. Part of me feels like whatever this information is actually part of a huge cover-up and lie that's coming our way. Something to think about. And that's where I ended the numbers, because I took everything out that I didn't cover on New Year's Day, and except for the country to country, because I'm not done with the countries to countries. And I'll probably do that. Maybe I'll do that next Tuesday. We'll see what happens in the world first. But I will get it out by the end of the month. Shortages and civil unrest. Hold on tight, folks. Hold on tight. Because we're about to see civil unrest in 2023 unlike anything that we've ever witnessed before. Much of this is going to be related to the coming food shortages, which will bring another level of civil unrest in many countries. Not everywhere, but in many countries, where stores can no longer keep their doors open due to severe looting. We are going to see this throughout the Middle East, starting with Iran and running into Europe in places like Poland, Germany, and throughout Russia, Africa, India, and China, probably in that order. Eventually, this will run into Australia, United States, and Canada, maybe 2024, 2025-ish. And if you missed my tribulation video I did a while ago, probably a year ago. I talk about the period of 2025 to 2032. Maybe I'll have to do an update at one of that. So if you happen to miss, sorry. Anyway, moving right along. Bye-bye, TikTok. TikTok don't rock. Their platform, their own platform is literally destroying them from the inside by their own subscribers on TikTok. Their own subscribers are posting truth about things like their agreement terms and what you agree to. You know, I went on TikTok and I forgot to delete my account, but I deleted the app. Now I'm going to go back on and delete my whole account. I started to go on there, but there's no, it doesn't matter anyway. They already banned it within parts of Congress or whatever, but there's a big bye-bye to that. But they're going to create another one. I have it created, and they'll start launching that out, and they'll probably link it to a different country. You know how they do that. They'll operate in it. They're in China, but they're going to make it look like they're registered in Bermuda or something. But Spirit was saying on New Year's last week, bye-bye TikTok, and says that they're destroying their own platform from their own subscribers. Their subscribers are helping to destroy TikTok. Kind of interesting. I thought it was interesting. I don't know how this got. Oh, sorry. I don't know how this got in there, but it's in there. Pope Francis will have a very challenging year, and it is likely he will not see his next birthday, which happens to be December 17th. The Pope is somewhat stepping away lately and may be forced to give up his seat if he does not end up passing away first. I see large gatherings of people at the Vatican. And again, there is more on this on my top 10. The rest of it's on my top 10 or New Year's. Yeah, probably my top 10. I'm pretty sure. A year of disappearances is another thing that 2023 is going to offer up. A year of disappearances, kind of like the Malaysia Air Flight 370. It will almost seem surreal rocket as well, including the disappearance of a large boat or ship taken under by the sea, along with 2 airplanes. But I got a feeling that the airplanes would end up being found where they say Malaysia Airlines didn't, but they claim that it crashed into the Indian Sea, which it probably did. But anyway, moving on with civil unrest and craziness with airplanes. Protests breaking out. Look what's happening already in, oh God, what country is it? I just drew a blank. Is it the UK? No. I forget now. Oh, Paris. That's what it was. Paris, they're going nuts, right? Well, I saw protests breaking out in both Hong Kong and Taiwan. Big ones. And I think that's when everything happens, like China closing in on Taiwan, big protests. I feel like it all happens at the same time, and it feels kind of chaotic, of course. And this must be in here twice, but I'm going to read my notes because sometimes there's something in there that wasn't in the last part. Another Ebola breakout or something similar, especially in the western parts. Mass media evildoers will use this and other breakouts to push their agendas, of course. But more new restrictions and even mask mandates going back into place in many parts throughout, the globe. 2 breakouts is what Spirit showed me. 2 breakouts. I think the 2 is within Africa, but we'll have to see. Again, I didn't feel like it was something to worry about at all. It's just something to bring your attention to and to tell our friends in Africa to be extra cautious. I don't know how Ebola or any of that spreads, but if you feel like you need to wear a face diaper, go right ahead. But you just be safe. Wash your hands. If you're sick, stay home. Don't spread your germs. Other than that, we'll all be fine, right? So the first true smart city prisons are going to begin to flow with prisoners of the elite sick agenda of creating a prison planet. So are you aware of these smart city little things they're doing? Did you know in China, they've created replica cities? Like there's a whole Paris, France right in China, and nobody lives in it. I mean, a huge, gigantic city built. There's several of them in China. These are the smart cities. These cities are so hooked up with technology and such. that is really, like I said earlier, they're coming out with 15-minute cities, meaning that within 15 minutes of your home will be everything you need. Grocery store and everything else you'll have mailed to you. I'm sorry, I'm not staying 15 minutes from my home my whole life. No, I will be part of the resistance, without a doubt. But already in China, again, they have built dozens of replica cities. Soon it will be discovered, according to Spirit in China, that they are starting to relocate people to one of these cities. Even though they're really trying to keep everything under wraps over there, like you can't share anything or get anything out of that country. Somehow or another, we're going to find out about it. And it will be discovered in China that they're relocating people to these cities. This is actually a global plan that they want for everybody. United States, I don't know what they're putting us in FEMA camps. I don't know where they're putting us. But over there in China, they're putting you in the city. It's kind of interesting, kind of creepy. But everything's surveilled, like to the T. And no cars, no transportation like that. You have to take their transportation. And, they have the social credit score system over there in China that even Biden agreed he would like to implement here. But they probably already do have it on a level that we're not aware of. Actually, Spirit says that's correct. So Spirit's like, that's 100% correct. So we already have a social credit system in place in the United States that we're not aware of. Interesting. And everywhere. Spirit just said everywhere, not just the US. All right, good to know. Thanks, Spirit people. We love you. Tornadoes and floods. Some areas, and I feel like this is coming up maybe now or very, very soon, but that whole part of the lower Midwest, and so Arkansas, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Tennessee, and tail end of it in the Carolinas. Severe floods and tornadoes. I didn't get anything else other than that, but I will by the time I do my New Year's Day prediction. See, I told you my brain's fried from predictions. Drones will soon begin patrolling. They already do, we know that, but nope. Spirit said like police drones that begin patrolling everything. Now we saw that in 2020, if you remember. It was in New Jersey, actually, in United States, state of New Jersey, where I forget what town it was that they had those drones going out, and they could tell everything. They could tell if you have a fever. If you have a mask on, don't have a mask on, they would tell you need to get out of there or whatever. You need to be 6 feet apart and the whole garbage. Well, Spirit says get ready because they're going to start patrolling with small ones, little ones, patrol everywhere. They probably already, I would assume, have this in China, but if Spirit says drones are going to begin patrolling, that means that we're going to see this big time, like big time. Just like, sadly, we're going to hear very often the word martial law. Spirit says that martial law will become a common trending word or phrase. Now, I don't know if it's true. I never looked it up. Apparently, they called martial law up in New York and Buffalo from all the snow. I thought when you call martial law, it was for the whole country, but I don't know. So whether it's all true or not, but Spirit said it's going to become a common trending thing. You'll see it on Twitter trends. Hashtag martial law. So wildfires. It's going to be a sad year for fires and hot. Depending on where you're at, though, of course. Like, for example, it just came to me, part of Western Australia is going to experience extra dry heat that causes them fires. But a change in the weather patterns, the winds, and coming rainstorms help to put the fire out. That's what Spirit just said. Very clearly, guys. You're pretty loud tonight. Thank you. I saw a plane crashing into the side of a building. It appears almost like an apartment building. I see 3 significant crashes all within the same kind of short little time window. One plane crashes into a home that sets 2 homes ablaze. So I don't know. That one was a hard one to see. This was last week. It kind of appeared to me like maybe the plane broke apart in the air before crashing down, and part of it hit one home, part of it hit the other. I don't know if anybody was in the home or not. I didn't get that, so I'm going to say probably, luckily not. But I don't know. I didn't get information on that. but it appears that it's breaking up before it hits that other house or vehicle. Los Angeles comes to me very, very strongly the whole last week when I was doing these predictions, with feelings that were not very positive. The memory of the Rodney King incidents that happened back in the 80s came to mind for some reason. So Spirit does that, shows me things to get me into a certain area, and sometimes it's hard to interpret, and sometimes it's easy to interpret. So we could make it an easy interpret and say there's going to be another incident like that, but it might not necessarily mean that. See, that's the thing with Spirit and predictions. Perhaps a similar incident, but I feel LA will hit world news headlines way too often in 2023. An incident that brings about looting and rioting, which would make sense if Spirit showed me Rodney King. A significant hit by an earthquake will also bring about fires. I am not clear if this, there's also a wildfire, like I said, coming very close to the edge of Los Angeles. Large fires. One large fire, wildfire, let me rephrase that, is closing in on LA. Parts of the city are ignited during riots, or likely both riots and wildfires. Speaking of, yeah. So a huge attack coming on a water system. Now, if you look back at last year's predictions for January, I talked about the water wars coming. And you know how sometimes things take 2 to 3 years of predictions to come true, especially my New Year's Day predictions, especially. Our weekly ones here on Tuesdays, some of them come true pretty quickly, actually, but New Year's ones. So this came to me about a hack on a water system, and I thought it might have even been 2 years ago that I talked about water wars. So I would think we're closing in on this past prediction, which sometimes, again, takes a little while to happen. But more clear visions on this attack on the water supply makes me believe that it's closing in. So I don't know what this attack is exactly. It almost felt like a hack attack, like they're putting more chemicals in the water than should be in the water. And I'd have to go back to those other predictions last year or 2 years ago about the water and see what they say. I saw a raid taking place, like a police raid on a gay club or a drag show or both. It looked to me to be more like a crime raid, like, they're being raided by the FBI or something. But whatever the case is, it felt like it's going to bring a lot of controversy. Of course it will. If the media can use it, they will. But I also worry a little bit for when it comes to gay clubs and events, as beings we're going into that angry cycle with some people in 2023. There's going to be many cycles that we're going to see in 2023 of hatred and anger, unfortunately. So my friends, please be safe and cautious when you're out and about. United States is going to be dealing with too much already with shootings, and even more too much. So, they want to take our guns, just like Trudeau is doing to Canadians. So I expect several flags to fly ever so falsely in 2023, if you know what I mean, when it comes to that agenda of taking your weapons. I do see some type of club or nightclub shooting, but I can't say that that was necessarily a gay club or a hotspot. But I could tell by the lights outside that it was a club of some sort. I had a vision of a large explosion in the sky, which could go back to my planes, but I'm not sure. But it definitely appeared to me like, again, a plane or something in the sky that just suddenly blows. But I couldn't tell. All I saw was the sky, Spirit showed me, and then an explosion in the sky. And it was a very fast vision that I had. So this could be, because Egypt came to me, this could be over or near Egypt. And I'll leave you with some dates that popped up. January 6th, of course it popped up. So I don't know what's going to happen again on January 6th, but just keep an eye out of January 6th. Friday the 13th, we have 2 of them this year. Friday, January 13th, and Friday, October 13th. I'm not so worried about like something on Friday the 13th in January as much as I am for October. Something big's going to happen in October on that date. I'm going to be doing a video probably in September on Friday the 13th. Something to look forward to. It's in my plan list, but I'm waiting until we get closer to Friday the 13th before I put it out. It's going to be interesting. And by then, I will get more information by October 13th. I didn't have time to do it this month, the Friday the 13th thing, so I'll save it. March 11th, April 22nd, May 15th, the solstice on the 21st of June, October 29th, actually, I just thought of that. October 29th, years back, is when Hurricane Sandy smashed into the coast of Jersey and New York. So maybe it's storm related. It means that just popped in my mind. Something big around the 29th of October. And then also 11/22, October or November 22nd, which is actually the same date that Kennedy was assassinated, 11/22. I'm going to leave you with that. I forgot to grab my cards and all, but I want to thank you all for the cards that you sent me, the gifts that you sent me, and all that you send me, because it's so much fun, and I'm so grateful for all those things. What I do with it, I had a card here that my friend sent me. I just thought it was cute. It's sitting here. I didn't forget to grab this one. Have a terrific day. She always finds ones that fit. Have a terrific day. Someone did send me some tea too, and I think I thanked you in the last Tuesday's show, but for the card, and I forgot it went with the box of tea. My apologies. And I'll get all those other cards, and I'll talk about them next week. It was extra longer show than normal, so I must leave you with that, because both me and my doggy got to go. You know what? Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and that like button. Sign up to the newsletter down below for upcoming classes, workshops, and everything else. And more importantly, make sure you celebrate your day. Celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you, because otherwise we all know that mean people suck. Spearman JT signing off. I know, don't go. Namaste, but I gotta go. So namaste. Have a beautiful day. Much love.